Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video on the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed the video that I made yesterday, aka today, because I'm recording both of these videos back to back, one to be posted today on Friday, the other to be posted tomorrow on Saturday. But I hope you guys are ready for another banger video because as you guys know, all of my videos are bangers. I have no misses. Um, Anyways, we're going to be talking about the most underrated and overrated prospects in the upcoming 2023 NFL Draft. Now, I made this video on one of my old channels, and this video really banged, so hopefully, this is just a good idea that I had. But I'm going to give you guys 5 overrated and 5 underrated prospects in the draft. Now, this isn't necessarily where I think the national media thinks they are. I think it's relative to where they're going to get drafted. So I think some of these guys are going to be steals, and some of these guys are going to be drafted way too high. And you'll kind of see what I mean as we go down the list. But before we get into that, please make sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 100, hoping to hit that by draft night. And we are going to be live streaming the first round of the draft, so make sure to stay tuned. We're going to see some of these guys drafted today. All right, let's start with overrated. My first overrated player is Quentin Johnston. Quentin Johnston is overrated because on paper, this guy should be a fucking beast, right? He's tall, he's got long arms, he's pretty fast, and you look at those traits, and you look at a lot of traits of guys like DK Metcalf or what Randy Moss was back in the day, and you see like these big, tall, fast receivers who can go up and body people, and you're like, yes, I like that. The thing with Quentin Johnston though is that he doesn't use his size to his advantage. He doesn't use his frame. Additionally, he's a body catcher. He doesn't grab him with his hand. He doesn't grab balls with his hands. Pause, bro. Pause. Anyway, um, he's a body catcher, right? So you look at his frame and like, yeah, it's great, but he doesn't utilize it to his advantage. So for that reason, I think he's a bit overrated. I think he's gonna go in the top half of the first round. I personally would have a high second grade on him. That's a whole half of a round higher than I would draft him. So I think that he is an overrated player. Next, for a guy that I think is underrated, I think that's Zay Flowers. Sticking with receivers for a second, I think Zay Flowers is very shifty, runs very good routes. I think he's great after the catch, and I think he's a really, really good slot option for a lot of teams. A lot of teams need slot options, so I think he's a really good slot option. I've been seeing people taking him in the back half of the first round, an early second round. I personally would take him in kind of the middle of the first round. If I were the Patriots at number 14, I'd really consider it. If I was, the Commanders maybe not the Commanders, they already have a receiver. If I'm, maybe the Steelers at 17, I'll consider it. But I would take him middle of the first round, but I think he's going to be taken a bit later just because of his size is not great. All right, speaking of guys that are going to get taken way higher than they should, my next overrated player is Will Levis, the quarterback out of Kentucky. Now, the reason Will Levis is overrated is the same reason that many quarterbacks have been overrated in past draft cycles, and that's because they look the part. Will Levis is tall, he's strong, he's a good-looking guy. He looks like a quarterback, right? If you were making a movie, you would cast Will Levis to play your quarterback. That's totally fair. Also, he pairs that with a very strong arm. And so teams are tricked into thinking that this guy is going to be a good quarterback at the next level. And I just really don't think so. My intuition is telling me not. The film I've been watching telling me not. I just don't think he's got maybe the pedigree, maybe the intangibles to play the quarterback position. Now, Will Levis, I would take a chance on him late in the first round if I was the Saints. There's a couple teams that I think could use a revitalization at the quarterback position. But I wouldn't take him anywhere near where he's going to go, and that's going to be in the top 5, top 10. There's people saying that he can go as early as number 4 to the Colts, and I just think that is just blasphemy. So I would not take Will Levis anywhere near that, but he's gonna get drafted higher because he's a quarterback and because of his intangibles. All right, my next underrated player is Michael Mayer, the tight end out of Notre Dame. Now, most people have him and Dalton Kincaid as the top 2 tight ends in this draft. I think most people would lean Dalton Kincaid, and I would tend to disagree. I think Michael Mayer is a significantly better tight end prospect. He is a much better receiver. He's a much better run blocker as well. And you got to think of Notre Dame. Notre Dame produces a lot of really good tight ends and offensive linemen into the NFL. He's projected to go, end of the first round, early second round. And I think that's a crime. I think that he should go much higher than that. I would take him at number 15 if I was Green Bay. That's just me, though. That's just me personally. Another guy that I think is a bit overrated is going to be Lucas Van Ness, the edge rusher out of Iowa. He's projected to go. I mean, I've seen him going as high as number 9 to the Bears. I think that's a travesty. I think there are a lot of edge rushers that are much better than him in this class. You look at his inability to, I think, rush from the inside is awful. I think, watch him against Ohio State. I mean, he was getting dominated, right? So I think Lucas Van Ness is overhyped because he's a big, tall, strong edge rusher who's decently fast. But we'll see more on this list about other guys like that. But people are saying he's top 10. I would take him like early second round. So it's a whole pretty much round differential, in my opinion, from Lucas Van Ness. Um, Next guy that I think is underrated. I love I love me some Joey Porter, the cornerback from Penn State. He's a big, long arm corner, plays with good length, plays with good speed, has good change of direction, nice hips. I think Joey Porter is the second best corner in this draft class, behind Devon Witherspoon out of Illinois. I think he's great. His dad played in the NFL, was really, really good for a long time. I love Joey Porter. I think some people are saying he's like the fourth or fifth best corner. I have him as number 2. Most people would understand that it's a pretty good corner class, and I agree with that. But man, I really think that he is a really good player, and I think he should go top 12, top 13 ish. So yeah, my next overrated player, sticking with the cornerback position, is Christian Gonzalez. I don't really get the hype around Christian Gonzalez. A lot of people think he's the second best corner in the class, and yes, I see the athleticism. Yes, I see the fluidity in his hips. But I don't know what he does that's special that is warranting of a high draft selection in Christian Gonzalez. And maybe I'm just tweaking balls. Who knows? But I personally just don't see it. So I would have Christian Gonzalez as one of my overrated players. Next, my underrated player is going to be Sam Laporta, the tight end out of Iowa. Now, this is a guy who I think is going to be a legit steal in the third or fourth round. I think he's a really, really good tight end. I think that, the lack of other offensive weapons at Iowa really hurt him, and having a bad quarterback really hurt his production, but he was still really, really good at Iowa. And if he goes to the NFL into a pass happy team, a team that is going to get him a lot of volume, a team that is going to throw the ball well, I think he's going to blossom and be one of the league's best tight ends. I really think that he has that upside, and I think that his weakness is definitely in run blocking, but, you know, that's whatever. Who cares? My next overrated player is going to be Nolan Smith, the edge rusher out of Georgia. This is a guy, kind of the typical draft story where not much hype before the combine, and then he runs really well at his combine, he jumps really high, jumps really far, does all these things, and all of a sudden he's a top 15 pick. I don't necessarily see it with Nolan Smith. I think he's a great athlete, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's a great edge defender. That Georgia defense was stacked, and so I think his life became a lot easier, and he wasn't very productive either. So I think he benefited obviously from that great Georgia defenses in college, but I don't think that he's all that. All right, now for my last underrated player, and this is going to be the last underrated player I'm going to give for this video, and then I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Um, Drew Sanders, the linebacker from Arkansas, who is my favorite linebacker in this draft class, went to Alabama, transferred to Arkansas this past year. He's big, he's strong, he's tall. I think he can play very well in coverage. I think he can rush the quarterback. Everything you want a linebacker to do, Drew Sanders can do. And I think that linebackers are considered to be a weak position in this draft class. So the earliest he'll go is probably middle of the second, beginning of the third round. I might take a late first on this guy. I think this guy is really good. I love his film. I love his skill set. I love what he can bring to the team. And I think that he is going to be one of the steals of the draft. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm interested to hear your opinion on who is overrated, who is underrated. Let me know. Please don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace out.